What is the stupidest thing you've done just to show you could do it? My partner was a heavy smoker, and at the time, I'd never touched a cigarette. I would subtly and sometimes not so subtly, but always lovingly urge her to quit. She told me I had no idea how hard it was. I decided to take up smoking for about a month and then quit just to show her I could do it. That was 10 years ago. I'm on a pack a day. She no longer smokes. This might be the worst one yet. Edit. I really hope you can overcome smoking though. Shouldn't be a problem now that their partners has shown them how easy it is. Uno reverse card. You'll see, he explained with a wink of his eye, I'll show you it's easy to stop if you try. It just takes a little commitment to quit. He breathed in the smoke, and he whispered, oh shit. A buddy bet I couldn't finish the spiciest chicken sandwich at this joint known for insanely spicy chicken in under 30 minutes. I knew I ducked up when they gave me gloves to eat the sandwich so the sauce couldn't touch my skin and made me sign a waiver. Won the bet, but really I lost in the end. Edit, wow, this blew TF up. Thanks for the gold. For anyone who wanted to know, this was a Howlin' Raisin Law. The Howlin' Hot lived up to its name. I've won, but at what cost? Cliff diving, saw an old man do a front flip off a 40-foot cliff. I said if he can do it, so can I. I did the flip all right, followed by a belly flop that Zeus could hear. Knocked the air out of me, but luckily people were floating nearby to save my dumb ass. I bruised my ass by jumping off a similar height rock and landing in a seated position. How was that enema? Public enema ducking sucks. I fell water skiing one time and my father, being the kind man he is, pointed to the giant turd floating next to me and would not help me back in the boat while he laughed about it, and I, as a 14-year-old boy, had just been ass-fucked by a lake. I've literally never told anyone this except the doctor at the hospital, but that happened to me too. I got thrown off a jet ski at 70 miles per hour and hit the water ass first and then smacked my head. Shit my pants, sprained my neck, had a concussion and sprained a shoulder. 010 do not recommend. Edit. Wow guys, thanks for the award. I'm glad that my poopy jet ski story made so many people laugh. I'm okay now, just have a few issues with my shoulder and will never get on a jet ski again lol. At 70 I feel like you got off pretty light. I mean, having pretty much any kind of accident at 70 miles per hour, having only shit your pants and minor bruising and other injuries? Yeah. Dude, had someone looking out for him that day. In 2001, my sister got me a Sony phone, a tiny little thing with a flip-down front. She worked in a phone shop and got discount. On the box, it said the phone was waterproof and there were tiny rubber seals in places. I believed them. At the pub where I worked, this aspect came up in conversation. Some guy said the phone couldn't be waterproof, and that showerproof was probably more accurate. Remembering the box, I argued the point, and dropped my phone into a pint of beer in an effort to prove it. I was wrong. Brutal but well-earned life lesson. My friend did something similar at a bar years ago. She had a case called Lifeproof and she swore it made her phone indestructible. So she picked it up, slammed it on the table, and shouted Lifeproof. When she lifted it up her entire screen was shattered. Yeah, mine just fizzled out and died. Wounded. Back to my old Nokia in those days smile. Nokia S will outlive us all. Walked through the brush of our tree line to get a football to prove it wasn't poison ivy. I did it. I got the football. It was poison ivy. I once did something similar, but it turns out I'm immune to poison ivy. The rest of my friends? Not so much. Fun fact, poison ivy in humans is like chocolate for dogs, it only affects 40 to 60% of things. With chocolate for dogs, it affects enough of them to just avoid all dogs from all chocolates just to be safe. With poison ivy in humans, only a certain percent get the effects. However, just because you don't get the effects the first time, such as itchiness and rashes, you can easily get them the second or third, etc. You can handle poison ivy 20 times thinking you're immune, then all of a sudden the 21st time hits you like a brick. Like chocolate for dogs, even if you think you're okay, it's still best to just avoid. Like dogs and grapes. Just had to get my dumbass Chihuahua Shit's stomach evacuated at an emergency vet. Then she came out black from the charcoal they tried to give her to soak up the toxins. You know? Just in case she is in the percentage of dogs that a grape can kill. Came home and ran around with my other dogs like nothing ever happened. TLDR, grapes may, or may not be, poison to dogs and cats. Pick the odds and may they forever be in your favor. In grade school, maybe age 11 or 12, I had these cheap jeans. I figured out that I could flex my belly and pop the button open, found this funny and guy friends in class got a laugh too. One of them turns to a girl, "Hey girl, check out what op can do." I flexed my belly and let out a huge fart while the button popped open. She turned away, my buddy laughed, and I never did this trick again. I used to work at a shitty movie theater. As it gets to midnight, all the employees hang out behind the concessions counter and shoot the shit, eat the popcorn before we have to throw it out, etc. One of them dared someone to do a butter shot. But the liquid butter for popcorn is way closer to straight oil. So an oil shot. I'm always a slut for attention, so I said pass it to me and I downed it without letting myself think about the consequences. It tasted like liquid plastic and I hated it, but everyone was howling and incredulous and I felt cool for a whole minute. Shat my brains out the next morning. Worth it. Edit, spelling edit too, I wake up to an award. My first. What a thing to see on my day off. Thanks you awesome losers, I'd like to thank my impulsive nature and God and also Jesus and. Edit 3, GOLD. I too worked at a shitty movie theater. You have all of my respect. Won a donut eating contest. In 10 minutes I ate about 17 donuts, and seconds before the time was up and I had all my thoughts set on having a hearty cleansing puke. A mother ducker who wasn't even taking part yelled that throwing up afterwards should disqualify you. Somebody counted that I took in a few days worth of calories. My appetite came back 2 days after. A mother ducker who wasn't even taking part yelled that throwing up afterwards should disqualify you. Ridiculous. You ate the most donuts in the allotted time frame, everything after that doesn't matter. Yeah, it should only be if you throw up during the event or you disqualified. Edit, to all the comments about eating their own throw up, I was only considering someone not doing that as I couldn't do that myself. But I agree. Ike. My son was in a pie eating contest a few years back, and he was neck and neck with the girl next to him about halfway through the pie before she threw it up on the table in front of her. Did that stop her though? Nope. She quickly ate her puke, finished the pie, and still took first place. Even typing this, I gagged at that memory. We all agreed though, she 100% deserved that win. This makes me wish I couldn't read thank you. Jumped illegally over the China-Myanmar border, and back again. Edit, well this blew up. This was in 2002. I was in China legally, in the town of Ruili, Yunnan province. Across a small stream and two thin strings of barbed wire was the city of Moose, White Elephant City, Myanmar, which was closed to foreigners at the time. A group of opium addicts were smoking in the thick bushes growing near the border, and invited me over for a chat. I saw no border guards were within line of sight of me, so I did. We had an interesting chat in a mixture of English and Chinese. Later I wandered into the closest narrow street lined with dilapidated white wooden buildings, with bearded men in sarongs wandering around. I bought a Burmese noodle dish. No alcohol available in that state. Then I hightailed it back to the same crossing spot and over, about 90 minutes after I first went over. Ruili, China is, or at least was, a lawless borderland, with all the vices that lawless border towns typically attract. My crossing was the least of the local authorities' worries. I wouldn't repeat it or recommend it to anyone, though. Lucky you are not rotting away in a nasty-ass prison cell. Hey, they wouldn't let him rot away. Unless there was something fundamentally wrong with his organs. I told my 6th grade friends I could just off a 2-story roof and not get hurt. Guess who only got a scraped knee that day? Not me. I broke my leg. Parkour people, on the other hand, can do a safety roll and be mostly unharmed aside from some mild pain. I wonder if they learned it from playing Ocarina of Time. Edit, thanks for the award. Those people have knees of steel, and shoulders. And ankles. And elbows. And. When I was 6 I stapled my fingers because I had convinced all of my friends that I had iron hands. I was around that age too and I was fiddling around with a stapler and stapled my pointer fingers together. It was the skin just next to the nail so it barely hurt. I went downstairs to tell my mom who was doing laundry that I stapled my fingers together. I still remember the look on her face to this day. Edit, then again that was yesterday so of course I remember S.